We met at a friend's backyard barbecue. Nothing fancy, just burgers on the grill, paper plates, folding chairs in a half circle. It was late spring, one of those perfect Saturdays where the sun hangs low in the sky and the breeze smells like grass. I didn't even want to go, to be honest. I'd worked that morning and was wiped, but my buddy convinced me to show up. Just for an hour, he said. I spotted Lisa near the drink cooler, laughing with a couple of people I didn't know. She had this confident energy, one of those people who never seem out of place, no matter where they are. I don't remember what my opening line was, probably something dumb about the beer selection, but she smiled and laughed like it was charming instead of awkward. We talked the rest of the night. She told me she just moved into town for a new job in an office downtown, something admin-related. I told her about my work in HVAC systems, boring, maybe, but steady. What surprised me was how easy it was to talk to her. Like we already knew the rhythm of each other's sentences. We started dating that summer. It wasn't long before we were spending most of our time together. Weekend hikes, late-night movies, quick dinners on weeknights when we were both too tired to cook but too happy to eat alone. She moved in 6 months later. The wedding came about a year after that. A small courthouse ceremony with just our closest friends and family. Simple, but it felt right. Fast forward to today, we've been married a little over 10 years. We live in a cozy 2-story house in the suburbs, the kind with a fenced yard, a reliable fridge, and a junk drawer that never stays organized. We've got a 10-year-old daughter, Maddie, smart, quick-witted, and way too clever for her age. Lisa and I both work full-time. She's still in office management, now with a real estate firm. I've stayed in HVAC, now running my own little crew. Our life isn't flashy, but it's stable. We've got routines, weeknight dinners, Saturday morning errands, Sunday afternoons on the couch. We argue about whose turn it is to take the recycling out and which show to binge next. We laugh a lot. We have our little world. It's not perfect, but it's ours. If you asked me to describe our life in one word, I'd probably say routine. Not in a bad way. Not boring. Just consistent. Familiar. There's a comfort in knowing how your days tend to go, even if they're not all that exciting on paper. Our mornings start early. I'm usually up around 6, sometimes earlier if I've got a big job lined up. I work in HVAC, and in the summer that means long days with back-to-back service calls. I like it, though. There's something satisfying about fixing things with your hands, solving problems right there on the spot. Lisa's usually up not long after me, getting Maddie ready for school. Our mornings are a blur of cereal bowls, missing socks, and Maddie trying to convince us that 10 more minutes of sleep will somehow make her more productive. Lisa keeps things moving. She's always been the more organized one. She's got a calendar on the fridge with everyone's appointments and schedules color-coded, and somehow she still remembers things I forget. School fundraisers, PTA meetings, birthday parties, we'd be completely lost without her brain running the ship. Evenings are quieter. We try to eat dinner together most nights, even if it's just something quick. Lisa's a great cook, especially when she's not rushing. Her lasagna could win awards. I handle the grill and breakfast on the weekends, but she runs the kitchen most other nights. Maddie's usually halfway through her homework by the time dinner hits the table, and we talk about our days, nothing deep, just the usual. Work stories. School gossip. Random facts Maddie picks up from YouTube videos. After dinner, it's cleanup, then a little TV, maybe a walk with the dog if the weather's decent. Maddie heads to bed around 9, though she pushes it every single night like it's her life's mission. Lisa and I will usually stay up a bit longer, sometimes watching a show, sometimes just sitting together in the quiet. She scrolls through her phone, I read or half-watch whatever's on. We don't always talk a lot at night, but there's still a kind of closeness there. That shared space. The knowing someone's beside you without needing to fill every silence. Weekends are a mix of chores and small adventures. Grocery runs, laundry, catching up on whatever we didn't get to during the week. Sometimes we'll drive out to the lake or take Maddie to a movie. It's not glamorous, but it works. It's a life that fits. I think that's what I appreciated most, how things just seemed to fit. Like we'd carved out this corner of the world for ourselves, and it didn't matter that it wasn't flashy or wild. It was steady, predictable, safe. And until recently, I had no reason to think that wasn't enough. Remember that the husband should find out about the betrayal in Part 8. In Parts 5, 6, and 7, the husband should not know about the betrayal, but only guess, and the tension should increase. No persecution of the wife in phrases like, I know the truth, but I don't have proof yet, only guesses. The strange thing is, I didn't notice it all at once. It started like most things do, small, quiet. Easy to write off. A couple of late nights at the office, a few girls' nights that didn't used to happen as often. I didn't think much of it at first. Lisa's always been social, and her job does get hectic, especially around end-of-quarter reports. So when she said she was going out with coworkers or staying late to finish a deadline, I took her word for it. But lately, the patterns have been different. Not dramatic, just off. She's more glued to her phone, and not in a scrolling Instagram kind of way. It's subtle. How she keeps the screen tilted away from me. How she'll smile quietly at something and then click it off the second I glance over. And the lock screen. She changed her password a few weeks ago. That's never been a thing between us. We're not the type to go snooping, but we've always known each other's passcodes. I only realized it when I went to silence her phone while she was napping, and it asked me for a code I didn't know. When I asked about it later, just offhand, she shrugged. Work security stuff, she said. They're making everyone update logins. I let it go. Why wouldn't I? But the explanations have started to pile up. There was the night she came home later than usual, said she and Chelsea from the office grabbed drinks after work. Only thing was, when I asked if Chelsea's still going through that rough breakup she'd been venting about, Lisa blinked, like she had to remember who Chelsea was. Oh yeah? Yeah, she's doing better, she said. Too fast. Too clean. Then last weekend, I found a receipt in the dryer. A dinner for two. Expensive. Not crazy, but nicer than anything we'd gone to in months. The date was from a night she said she was at her mom's helping with a plumbing issue. I looked at the receipt, then tucked it into my wallet and told myself not to jump to conclusions. Maybe she went with a friend. Maybe she picked up the tab for someone. There's always an explanation if you want there to be one. But I've started to feel it in the space between us. It's not always about what changes, it's what disappears. The little touches, the casual closeness, the way we used to instinctively check in with each other about the day. She's there, physically, but I don't know where her head is anymore. Or her heart. I still tell myself it's probably nothing. People change. Routines shift. Maybe I've just been too tired lately, too distracted with work. Maybe I'm overthinking. But there's a voice in my gut that won't shut up. And no matter how much I try to ignore it, it keeps whispering the same thing. Something's wrong. I've always been someone who gives people the benefit of the doubt. It's how I was raised. Trust first. Ask questions later. And for most of our marriage, that worked just fine. Lisa and I had a rhythm, an understanding. I never felt like I needed to question it. But lately, I feel like I'm watching our life from the outside. Like I'm still in it, but just slightly out of sync. It's hard to explain, but there's been this shift. Not anything obvious. Not anything you could point to and say, that's it. It's more in the in-between moments. The silences that used to feel natural now feel heavy. The glances we used to exchange across the room don't happen as often. And when they do, hers flicker away quickly, like she's somewhere else. Last week, she got a new haircut. Not a drastic one, just a little sharper, more styled. I complimented it, and she smiled, said, thanks, but didn't meet my eyes. Later that night, I found a small shopping bag tucked behind the closet door, new lingerie. Expensive. Not her usual type, not the stuff she's worn around me. I didn't say anything. I just folded the bag and put it back exactly how I found it. I told myself maybe she was trying to spice things up, maybe she was planning a surprise. But that night, she came to bed early and fell asleep almost instantly, facing the wall. She's been going to the gym more, too. I'm not complaining. She looks great, always has, but it's sudden. 4 or 5 times a week now, usually in the evenings, sometimes even late. She'll come home flushed, say something about a tough spin class, and head straight for the shower. She used to tell me about the classes, about the trainers, the annoying woman who always brought her own fan. Now it's just, it was good. And then she disappears into the steam. I mentioned maybe going with her sometime, half joking, and she kind of laughed, said, it's my me time, like it was already decided. I don't want to be the guy who second guesses everything. That's not who I am. But I've caught myself replaying things more often. What she says, what she doesn't say, the way she's always texting lately, her phone never far, always face down. And Maddie, she's been acting a little different too. Nothing dramatic. Just colder, maybe. Distant in a way I can't quite name. I asked if everything was okay at school and she said, fine, and that way kids do when they don't want to talk. I let it go. She's getting older. Maybe it's just a phase. But still, it's like something shifted in the air inside this house. You can't see it, but you can feel it. A kind of tension that settles in your shoulders and doesn't let go. Something unspoken. And every night now, when I lie awake next to Lisa, listening to her even breathing, I wonder what world she's living in when her eyes are closed. Because more and more, it feels like it isn't mine. I keep trying to talk myself down. That's the hardest part, not what's happening, but the not knowing if anything is happening. You start to feel like you're losing your grip on what's real. Like maybe it's just stress. Maybe I'm working too much, overthinking everything, reading into every pause and glance like it's a secret code. But then things keep piling up. The other night, Lisa said she was going to her friend's house, movie night, girls only. Nothing unusual, she's done it before. But when she came home around midnight, she smelled like someone else's cologne. Subtle, but not faint. I noticed it when she hugged me. She was talking fast, laughing louder than necessary. I asked if they had wine. Of course, she said, too quickly. A little too much, probably. Then she disappeared into the bathroom. I stood in the hallway for a good 2 minutes after the door closed. I didn't go through her purse. I didn't check her phone. I just stood there, caught between 100 versions of what could be true, and none of them felt good. The next morning, she was quiet. Tired, she said. I didn't push. And Maddie, she started rolling her eyes at me more, shrugging off my questions. She used to tell me everything, or at least more than this. I asked her last weekend what she and her mom had planned for Sunday, and she said, "Why do you care?" Not in a harsh way. Just detached. Like I was an outsider asking about someone else's schedule. Lisa brushed it off when I brought it up. She's just testing boundaries. Normal stuff. Maybe she's right. I don't know anymore. But it's strange. It's all strange. There's this feeling I get when I walk into the room sometimes, like I just missed something. Like there was a conversation going, a mood in the air, and the second I open the door, it snaps into something else. Like silence falls too fast. Or laughter cuts off too sharp. I've stopped mentioning it. There's only so many times you can ask harmless questions and get clipped answers before you realize asking is the wrong move. I'm not angry, not yet. I'm just tired. Tired of wondering what's happening in the spaces I can't see. Tired of second-guessing what's real in a house that used to feel so solid. I used to think our life had cracks in the surface, little things that needed attention. Now I'm starting to wonder if those cracks go all the way through. And the scariest part is not knowing if I'm just imagining it, or if the foundation is already split. There's a kind of silence that doesn't feel like peace. It's not the calm after a long day, or the quiet that settles over a house after the dishes are done and the lights are dimmed. No, this silence is different. It feels loaded. Like there's something buzzing behind the walls, and if you listen closely, you can almost hear it whispering things you don't want to know. That's what my house has started to feel like. I find myself watching Lisa more than I interact with her lately. Not because I'm suspicious exactly, at least, that's what I keep telling myself, but because I'm trying to see something that might explain the way things have shifted. She's not cruel. She's not short with me. If anything, she's pleasant. Maybe too pleasant. Her answers are clipped and practiced, her smile tight at the edges. And there's something in her eyes that wasn't there before, like she's always somewhere else, even when she's right in front of me. Last Thursday, she left for a client dinner. She works in office management for a real estate group. Those happen. Sure. She left the house in heels I hadn't seen in a while and a dress that was a little more fitted than her usual choices. She looked incredible. I told her so, and she paused for a second before responding. Not surprised, more like she didn't expect me to say it. "Thanks," she said, and then she was gone. She didn't get home until almost 11. I was half asleep on the couch, pretending not to wait up. She kissed my cheek and said something about the dinner running long, her boss wanting to go over projections. I nodded, tried to act casual. But her lipstick was freshly applied, and she smelled faintly of whiskey neat, the way she never drinks it. The next morning, she was up early, full of energy, already dressed by the time I came down for coffee. She kissed Maddie on the forehead, reminded her about her math quiz, and barely glanced in my direction. I stood in the doorway and watched the two of them move around the kitchen like I wasn't even there. Later that day, I picked up Maddie from school. She was unusually quiet in the car, staring out the window with that tight-lipped expression she gets when she's thinking about something big. I asked if everything was okay. She just shrugged. Fine. I asked if her mom had said anything weird lately. She gave me a quick look and said, "Why would she?" And that was the end of it. I don't know what I'm looking for anymore. I just know that something's off. Something is happening, and it's happening around me, not to me, but through me. Like the house is shifting its weight, like conversations are still happening, just not when I'm around. I'm no stranger to hard work, long days, and carrying more than my share. But this is different. This feels like standing in a room full of people who know a joke you don't. And I'm tired of being the only one not laughing. It happened on a Tuesday. I remember because I almost didn't come home early. I was supposed to finish a service call across town, but the client rescheduled last minute. No big deal. I figured I'd get a jump on the evening. Maybe surprise Lisa and Maddie with takeout from that Thai place they both liked. It was just after 4 when I pulled into the driveway. Lisa's car was already there, which was odd. She usually didn't get back until at least 5:30. Maddie had a half day at school, so I figured maybe they were just hanging out. A rare quiet afternoon. I didn't text. Didn't knock. Just let myself into the garage like I always do. The house was quiet at first. No TV, no clinking of dishes or footsteps. I remember pausing in the hallway, takeout bag in hand, and hearing faint voices coming from upstairs. I wouldn't have listened, would have called out or made some noise, but I heard Maddie's voice say something that stopped me cold. Dad is such a loser. He doesn't even know. I froze. There was a pause, and then Lisa's voice, light, almost dismissive. Don't talk like that, Maddie. But it's true, Maddie replied, her voice sharper now. You said he has no clue. You said he's too boring to notice anything. Another pause. I stood there, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. I should have walked away. I should have made noise, announced myself, anything. But I didn't. I stood still and listened. You're not wrong, Lisa said. But we don't say that out loud, okay? Some things stay between us. That's when Maddie, my 10-year-old daughter, laughed. He's so clueless. You're always texting that guy. What's his name again? Lisa didn't answer immediately. Then, in a tone that was so casual it made my skin crawl, she said, Doesn't matter. He's not your dad. Just someone I have fun with. The rest of what they said blurred. I didn't need to hear more. I'd heard enough. I backed out of the hallway slowly, as quietly as I could. My hand was still gripping the bag of takeout, crumpling it into a mess. I set it down on the counter and left the house through the front door, heart hammering in my chest like I'd just been punched. I drove around for hours. No destination. Just driving. Processing. Or trying to. It's strange how one sentence, one overheard conversation, can drop your entire world out from under you. And not just the betrayal. It wasn't only Lisa's voice that haunted me, it was Maddie's. My own daughter, parroting things her mother had said. Laughing at me. Like I was a joke. Like I didn't matter. That night, I didn't go home. I slept in the truck, parked behind a hardware store 2 towns over. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a husband. Or a father. I felt like a fool. I didn't go home the next morning. I couldn't. Not yet. I parked by the lake on the edge of town and just sat there with the engine off, hands on the wheel, eyes fixed on the water like it was going to explain something to me. I played that conversation over in my head again and again, each word sharpening, cutting deeper. Lisa's voice calm, practiced. Maddie's careless, laughing. The 2 people I'd given my entire life to, talking about me like I was some clueless extra in the movie they were really living. Around noon, I drove back. Not to make peace. Not to ask questions. I came back to end it. The house was quiet when I pulled up. Lisa wasn't home yet. Maddie was at school. I walked through the door and didn't even bother taking off my boots. I went straight to the closet, grabbed a trash bag, and started pulling things out, her clothes, her shoes, makeup, whatever I could get my hands on. I wasn't careful. I didn't fold, didn't sort. Just grabbed and shoved. Then I opened the window in the bedroom and started throwing her stuff out onto the front lawn, one armful after another. I didn't care who saw. When Maddie got home, I didn't say a word to her. She paused in the hallway, watching me carry more bags to the door, her eyes wide but not surprised. Maybe a little guilty. I didn't yell. I didn't raise my voice. I just looked at her and said, Sit on the couch and wait for your mother. Lisa got home around 5. I was sitting at the kitchen table when she walked in, keys jangling, a lightness in her step that disappeared the second she saw the mess, the bags by the door, her things scattered across the lawn, Maddie sitting on the couch staring at the floor. She looked at me, eyes wide. What is this? What's going on? I stood up slowly. Calm. Colder than I've ever been. I heard you, I said. Tuesday. Upstairs. You and Maddie. Her mouth opened like she was about to deny it, but nothing came out. Just silence. Maddie looked up at her, confused. Maybe scared. I didn't care. I looked back at Lisa and said, Get out. Both of you. What? She whispered, like she'd heard it wrong. You heard me, I said. Pack what's left. Take your daughter. And get out of my house. Her expression cracked, then first confusion, then disbelief, then something like anger. You're kicking out your own child? No, I said. I'm kicking out your daughter. The one who laughs behind my back. The one who knew you were lying to me and joined in. You two made your little team. You made your choices. So go live with the consequences. She tried to argue, tried to say it was a mistake, that I misunderstood. I laughed in her face. A cold, bitter laugh that I didn't know I had in me. I walked past her, opened the door, and stood there waiting. Eventually, she left. Maddie didn't say a word. Just walked out behind her mother, arms crossed, eyes fixed forward. I stood in the doorway until they were both gone. Then I locked it behind them. She's been texting me since. Calling. Asking what's wrong, what happened. Begging for an explanation. I haven't responded to a single message. Because the truth is, I don't need to explain anything. I heard everything. And now, I'm done being the joke in someone else's story. The first few days after I threw them out were quiet in a way that didn't feel real. The house, for the first time in years, was completely mine. No voices in the next room. No footsteps on the stairs. No quiet giggles behind closed doors that might have been about me. It should have felt lonely, but honestly, it didn't. It felt like breathing for the first time in months. I cleaned out the house like I was reclaiming territory. Washed the sheets. Tossed out every reminder of them, half-empty shampoo bottles, shoes by the door, old drawings on the fridge. I didn't do it out of anger. I did it because I needed the space. Emotional and physical. This place used to feel like a home we built together. Now it feels like a home I earned. I transferred the house into my name alone. We were never careful with how things were split. I paid for the mortgage, handled the bills, covered every major expense. Lisa always said it was our money, but I'm the one who put in the work. I canceled her access to our accounts. Turned off her phone line. Blocked her on everything that matters. Maddie hasn't reached out. That part's harder to admit. She's still my daughter, by blood if nothing else. But right now, there's a wall between us, one I didn't build. She laughed at me. Mocked me. Maybe she didn't understand the weight of it all, but it still landed like betrayal. I don't know if we'll ever repair that. I want to, maybe. But not yet. Not now. I've been going to the gym again. Not for revenge. Not to get back at anyone. Just because I want to look in the mirror and see someone who didn't crumble. I've started eating better. Reading more. I picked up weekend side work doing custom AC installs, pays well, keeps my hands busy. The days go by faster now. They're mine. Last week, I joined a local hiking group. Just strangers and a trail. There's a woman there, Jenna. She's kind. Sharp. Doesn't push. We've had coffee twice. No pressure. No promises. Just conversations that feel good in the moment. That's enough for now. And you know what's strange? I smile more. Not all the time. Not in that I'm healed way people post about online. But in those quiet, honest moments, driving with the windows down, sipping coffee in the morning light, hearing the crunch of leaves under my boots, there's something like peace returning. Slowly. Carefully. But it's there. Lisa tried to tear down who I was. Made me into a joke in the eyes of my own daughter. But the truth is, I'm not a joke. I'm still here. And I'm just getting started. It's been almost 2 months since I threw them out. That feels strange to say. 2 months isn't a long time, but it feels like a different lifetime. I don't know how much of that is actual change, and how much is just clarity, finally seeing things as they are, not how I wanted them to be. I don't hate Lisa anymore. That surprised me. I thought I would. I thought I'd carry the anger like a flame, keep it alive just to remind myself of what she did. But it's not there anymore. What's left is something flatter. Sadder. She was part of my life for over a decade. We built a family, routines, memories. And then she stepped out of it like it was a sweater she didn't want to wear anymore. That's not something I can forgive, but it's not something I want to rage against either. What's the point? You can scream into the wind for years and still never get the apology you think you deserve. Maddie still hasn't reached out. Part of me holds out hope that she will, maybe when she's older, maybe when she understands more. I don't expect her to say sorry. I just want her to know I wasn't blind. I wasn't weak. I was trying to hold a family together while everyone else had already walked away. I'm still seeing Jenna. Slowly. Gently. She knows I'm not looking to jump back into anything too fast. Some days we talk for hours, others we don't speak at all. There's no pressure with her. No expectations. I didn't realize how much I needed that Someone who shows up without trying to rewrite the story. Someone who sees me as I am, not who I used to be. I've learned to be alone again. That's something people don't talk about enough. The strength it takes to sit in silence and not flinch. I cook for one. I watch movies no one else picks. I sleep on my side of the bed and don't feel the weight of an empty pillow next to me. I'm not saying everything is perfect now. I still wake up some mornings with a tightness in my chest. I still have dreams where the house is full again, laughter, light, the noise of a family, and I wake up to quiet. But those moments don't crush me the way they used to. They pass. And what remains is this calm, this deep inner knowing. I didn't deserve what happened to me, but I survived it. And I'm building something new. Not out of revenge. Not to prove anything. Just because I can. So if you're reading this, and you're in that place, the shadows, the doubt, the ache of betrayal, know this. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're waking up. And when you finally step out of their story and into your own, you'll realize what I did. There's life on the other side. And it's yours.